experience could look like. And we want to take it deeper still. Because one of the things that Christina and I really believe in is integration. And there's one thing to attend a workshop and great, we have these big, beautiful moments, but then what happens afterwards? How do we carry this through? How does this stay alive outside of the session and move with us into the day-to-days? How do we remember to speak up, Regine? How do we remember to surrender control, Veronica? How do we remember to take up space, Marilyn? How like and in the moments when it's challenged, in the moments out on Monday afternoon when we don't feel resourced. And so this is something that we really want to have in our community, that integration piece. So I'm just going to add a link to the chat just in case you have to leave and are not able to get into it. But please add yourselves to this WhatsApp group. This is where all of the details around the mastermind will continue to be drip fed, including the presentation that I'm going to show you. And you know, everyone that's shared here, you get the pulse. You understand what it's like to be a woman in this body, in this day and age, and to feel the very real pressures of having to strive and having to perform and having to prove ourselves or having to measure up in whatever shape or form, and how exhausting that can be, this whatever veils or stories that we might be living with. You know what it's like to constantly be pressing up against that and getting triggered, whether the people pleasing arises, whether it's burnout, whether it's, you know, not honoring our boundaries or our rest, or overextending ourselves and giving so much that we forget to give to ourselves. You know what it's like to feel overwhelmed and to doubt our innate capacity. You know what it's like to really long for emotional freedom, to long to play big and put ourselves out there, to long to be able to sit with the anxiety or to sit with the overwhelm and the depression and to not be overcome by it, to be the gracious presence and awareness that gets to hold it and move through it, to build that sense of tenacity. You know what it's like to want to feel unshakable amidst setbacks and the opinions of others. You know what it's like to want to step into a room with your radiant confidence and to speak from that place and to create from that place and to love from that place. You know what it's like to crave a space like this, where we can just drop all of the masks, release the perfectionism, claim the truth, release the veils, and finally really be fully seen and heard and celebrated. You know what it's like to know that you were meant to lead, to know that healing leadership goes much deeper. And I can sense that all of the women in this room and in our community have that intention. And this mastermind is really for women who are ready to really go deeper within and take the healing, the growth, the transformation, the leadership to the next level, because it requires a lot of deep, meaningful work. It requires a lot of integrating shadows and releasing old patterns and dealing with our nervous system's old reactive ways of responding to things. It requires us reconciling certain old wounds or traumas that are still deeply embedded in our emotional energy body. And you know of all people that actually, even though it seems like a mountain of work, as a community, as a sisterhood, when women come to heal, to grow, to rise together, they don't only just transform within themselves, they ripple out into their families, their communities, into I'm sorry, I'm going to be like super corny, into the freaking world. I genuinely believe that. And so I'd love to just share a few simple slides around what it is that we're offering in these workshops so that you get a chance to really sink your teeth. I'll also send you the pitch deck. But can everyone see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up that you can see it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the first few slides are really just speaking to the type of women that we're working with, people who are really seeking deep intentional growth, who know that it happens in a space of sisterhood and community, and that when we get that, it is the catalyst for transformational change in every aspect of life. And so we're really working through every aspect of the self in a very holistic way. We want to be integrating wholeness, where when we heal old patterns, old veils, we know how deeply ingrained this is in our nervous system, the conditioning, the ancestral patterns that we not only carry, but that our parents, the generation before them, that it's something that lives in the collective energy that we're breathing, and that is a part of our cellular makeup that requires deep work. So we're here to really change from a cellular level, not because you need to be someone better, but because actually your true essence is already deep within. And we're simply allowing healing, wholeness, emotional resilience to help. It's like that when they said, I asked Michelangelo about the statue of David. They said, how did you create the statue of David? He said, the statue of David was always there. I simply started chipping the pieces away around the marble to reveal what was already there. We're not here to change you. We're not here to make you someone better. Like, the true, authentic, empowered self is already you. And so we're really here about creating the necessary environment, the soil, the water, the sunlight, the sisterhood that will allow that essence to come through, because you have a unique zone of genius, an authentic pulse, a creative expression that the world needs. And so we're going to be really creating the environment, the skills, the tools, the practices, the circles, the embodiment to be able to usher that space for you. So we really are, because we're powered by the Wellness Collective, and the Wellness Collective is really a family, a collective of very diverse practitioners from a 360-degree scope of well-being. So we integrate everything from science and soul to neuroscience. We bring in practices such as quantum physics, somatics, breathwork, yoga, non-dual, Shaiva Tantra, classical tantric philosophy, spiritual alignment, energy work. We're weaving everything in, because we understand that change really, like, you cannot separate the mind from the body, the biology from the physiology, the emotion from the body, the spirit from the energy, from the, it's all like woven together in this one tapestry. And so it requires a complete 360-degree approach so that we can really create those shifts on a cellular level. And so we're really bringing in that approach, and bringing in facilitators from all over the world that can offer these various different diverse modalities. And so within these workshops, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing weekly meetups. So we'll meet 4 times a month, and then twice, 2 of those 4 times out of the month are going to be deep healing connection circles where we allow space for whatever is alive in us to be seen. If you think about real, genuine change, like me, me and Christina, we're practitioners, and we go to therapy every week, and how badly we need therapy. It's something like we need the support system. And so we'll do circles every other week, where when we get a chance to really bring whatever it is that we're experiencing in real life, whatever emotion is present, whatever circumstance and whatever energy is alive in us, whatever is asking to be felt, whatever needs to be expressed, whatever wants to change, to shift. Like, these are really the spaces for, like, sharing, where we get to be surrounded by a trauma-informed safe space, where we allow deep presence to what also is not just in the mind in the story, but also what is in the body, and allowing the nervous system of the collective, of the group, to be that anchor, so that we can all regulate, and our bodies can really learn and develop the capacity to be with and hold what is alive, so that we bring that capacity with us outside of the circle into everyday life, into your own presence that you bring into the moment, into your own presence that you meet every emotion, setback, circumstance, disagreement, person's opinions. This is really what we're collecting. We're developing the collective nervous system that you get to instill into your own nervous system. And we get to bring in trauma-informed, beautiful practices. Christina and I are being mentored by some facilitators under Gabor Mate. So we're embedding a lot of different trauma-informed somatic tools in there as well. We're going to have deep dive modules. So 2 out of those 4 weeks, in the month will be circles. The other two will be deep dive learning modules, where you'll meet with a member of our faculty, an international group of practitioners that will take you through deep dive modules around specific themes, specific bodies of teaching. I'll go through it in a little bit. And then you'll be able to really like understand the methodology of that and sink your teeth into it and really start learning the theory, the embodied practices, so that you can take it in and apply it in real life. And then we'll have mastery pods wherein you get to, meet with a few dyads or triads within the community to build accountability, to build authentic sharing. We'll have optional one-on-one coaching available because Christina and I are trauma-informed space holders and coaches. We also have a group of psychologists and other different energy healers, breathwork practitioners. So depending on what you need, this is what we'll be able to provide for you. We'll have book clubs. We'll have retreats as well. We'll plan a retreat in most likely in Puerto Galera, but that's still up for discussion, where we get to meet towards the latter part of next year in person and really get to integrate these learnings together. We'll have a digital hub where you'll have all of the master workbooks, the tools, the meditations, the resources, and the support. We're also developing a very in-depth master workbook that's going to be integrating various different modalities, teachings into one very cohesive, understandable framework that you get to go back and forth with. So that's really doing day-to-day tracking on your values, your triggers, your emotions, where that lives in your body, the goals, the visions that you want to create for yourself, how to keep accountable to that, how to work through limiting beliefs and actually really see the blueprint of your progress unfold right in front of you, so that we get to track, we get to measure, we get to optimize. So I told you a little bit already about the circles, about the trauma-informed relational healing, about us being able to share our challenges or wins or breakthroughs. We'll be able to learn how to really process emotions in a very holistic, embodied way, because that's really what healing doesn't happen in the mind. That's often the story. Healing happens in the body, it happens in the nervous system, it happens in the tissues. Bessel van der Kolk from The Body Keeps Score says your issues are in your tissues. So we'll be able to really connect to authenticity in that way. And then I told you a little bit about the deep dive modules. I'm going to go through the different facilitators and the syllabus of what we'll have available for you. But yeah, there'll be plenty of resources under the sun that will be accessible specifically to you. You'll also get recordings of all of the sessions. So just in case you're not able to make that particular week's sessions, you're able to also keep up with the recordings. You're able to actually also keep up within your accountability pods, within our group chat. So this is continued learning. We want to make sure that it's sustainable and that you have the support that you need after to integrate. Many of you already know Christina and myself. We are both ICF certified coaches. ICF is the International Coaching Federation. It is the gold standard of coaching. But we also weave in a lot of deep somatic work. So we're also non-dual Shaiva Tantric, classical Tantric philosophy and yoga practitioners. We bring in Gabor Mate's trauma-informed healing of somatic psychotherapy. We bring in internal family systems. So her and I are going to be your main guides leading the circles in some of the modules. And we're bringing in amazing facilitators from the Wellness Collective to bring in the other modules for you. So I'm just going to go through the syllabus very briefly so you have an idea, but I'm not going to go through it in too much detail. I'm going to send you the deck so you have that for yourself. But the first month, this November and December, it's going to start at the end of November and through December. We're going to have 4 weeks where Christina and I really introduce the workbook for you. We're going to map out true self-awareness, what wholeness is, how to start developing embodied presence, especially since we're going to be entering the holidays. And that's, if you ever hear the teacher that says, if you think that you have progressed in your personal development, go and spend the holidays with your family and then see how well you've done. So we want to equip you with the support system to step into that so that we can start to really take stock of our year, take stock of where we're at in our life. We'll go through the wheel of life to assess where we're at in our life, relationships, our health, our well-being, our work, and to really connect what are our authentic values? What way of being, what person am I wanting to step into and call into? What are the patterns that I want to start recognizing and rewriting? What are the beliefs that need to have a shift in a narrative? We'll be able to map that out on the workbook and really set aligned, authentic goals for yourselves and translate that into habit and lifestyle application. We're going to also introduce trauma informed foundations so that you understand how it is to work with the nervous system and how to bring in regulation tools that are really embodied and holistic, and how to start developing the aspect of self that is awareness, that is presence, that is that part of you that Christina was always talking about, that deep, ancient, wise, intuitive part of you, that spirit that really has the capacity to hold and be with all of life's energy patterns and still be grounded in truth, still be grounded in essence and wholeness. Then in January, Christina's going to come in. She's going to be leading the chapter around human design. So really understanding what is the unique blueprint for you as a specific individual, your zones of genius, the gifts that you get to bring into the world, the boundaries we need to create around those gifts and that energy so that you can continue to lead with vision, and how to really release the patterns of us working outside of our design and really honoring that self and seeing it from a very embodied lens, because Christina is a freaking amazing embodied facilitator. So it's something that your bodies will actually get a chance to have a taste of what it feels like to live in coherence, in alignment rather than dissonance. Then you have the amazing Sanaya Gormal. She's like an international, well, she's amazing. She's an international speaker. She's been on TEDx several times. She's constantly traveling the world. She talks about life and love and relationships and how to honor the self as a means of creating the love that you deserve and creating conscious relationships. So she will probably do things around connecting to the self-love, the compassion, the radical acceptance within self as a means of being able to build connection within self in order to build connection with others. Then we have Stephanie Zabiri, and she's particularly going to be talking about Jungian psychology and the archetypes and being in tune and in touch with the various parts of the self, the maiden, the mother, the wild woman, the sage, the shadow, the lover, and how to really get in touch with all of that. And she'll bring a lot of soulful embodiment rituals. You have Naz. A lot of you already know Naz. Naz is this amazing breathwork and ice immersion facilitator. She's going to be talking all about really anchoring presence. She's also, she studied and has a background in quantum physics. So she's very, very, very practical, but very deeply soulfully embodied. So she's going to be using modalities such as meditation and breathwork to really connect to a sense of presence that is grounded, that is safe, that is rooted in spaciousness that you can bring into whatever life throws your way. And then I'm going to be leading us through some shadow work and wholeness and radical self-acceptance. So this is going to be us really uncovering unconscious patterns and parts of ourselves that we may have been suppressing. We'll introduce a little bit of trauma-informed foundations, such as internal family systems, emotional literacy, how to be able to be the alchemist that gets to transform shadow and light and into wholeness, and to live from that place so that we're not as disjointed, and so that the shadow does not end up controlling unconscious patterns in our lives. That's often because we haven't addressed certain pieces of our shadow self. So we'll bring that into the light and really understand what is it like to be so freaking unapologetically me, to embrace all aspects of self and to be in that liberated way of being as I step into the world. And then we have Lee Grain, Maranan, and her partner, who's going to be talking about a lot of embodied feminine power, the cyclical wisdom, tapping into our cycles and the seasonal nature of feminine embodiment. And also bringing in a lot of, she's traveled all over the world working with different shamans. So she's bringing in womb wisdom, understanding circles, bringing in tantric yoga philosophy as well, and energy healing. Then Christina and I are going to be going into conscious relationships and authentic relating. So really, this is more about how we start not just consciously communicating to ourselves, but with other people, how we bring in that communication with our relationships, how we deal with conflict, how we can repair relational trauma, how we can begin creating more more reconciliation, how to be able to speak to each other's triggers, how to set loving boundaries and express ourselves authentically in relationship. Then you have Mina Matani, who's going to be taking us through a different journey around plant medicine and soul medicine. She's going to be talking about deep nervous system renewal and rest. She also is an embodied yoga facilitator. So she's going to be working a lot with the nervous system here and embodying sacred feminine energies. And then Christina and I, or most likely someone else, will actually be leading creative expression and voice activation. So it's kind of like what Regine said. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has something to create, something to innovate, something to bring into the world. And so it's really about opening up that channel and allowing us to speak not from the head, but from embodied self, the true inner wisdom, the authentic, creative, wild woman that has something to share, that wants to have transmission come through. Then we'll have a session around Dharma, purpose, and soul leadership, and how to really create sacred work that is in alignment with true self, how to lead in relationships, in the creative entrepreneurship, in the work front, how to create authentic impact that is in alignment with your particular gifts, and obviously dealing with imposter syndrome that usually gets in the way of that. And then we'll also be working through the living embodiment of wholeness. So energy medicine, flourishing. We'll be able to work with Reiki, because we also have A2 Chopra on our team. So we're also going to have a chance to continue to celebrate and track each other's wins, to share and to be led by each other. So we're also going to teach you how to hold space in the way that Christina and I do. So we want you to also step into the leadership role, where you're now holding space, where you're now leading ritual, where you're now sharing a piece of your creative purpose or dharma into this space. Yeah, and some of the other facilitators that we have here, A2, who I think was in the call earlier, is an amazing Reiki master, mental health practitioner. We have Candy Drulan Dalman. She's a functional doctor, so she's going to be taking care of the medicine front that is holistic. She's also an acupuncturist. Jackie is the head of Haraya Collective, so she is working with an entire faculty of different ICF coaches that deal with specifically like neuroscience backed self leadership. We have Paula Ferrer, who's our psychologist and psychiatrist on board, who also deals with deep trauma work, and Victoria Herrera, who's just like an all-around self-love queen and international speaker. So these are just some of the facilitators that will be ushering and holding space with us, so that you'll make sure that you see that it is really backed by a very diverse, well-rounded group of space holders and practitioners that are here to not just be your teachers, but also walk alongside you in the journey. And so, yeah, the investment here. So Christina and I want to make sure that it's very accessible to everybody. So there's going to be different tiers depending on your income. And so obviously the seed tier is for women who are still planting roots, people who want a little extra support. The Flourish tier is your general admission. So you can translate this into pesos, but $75 just for the entry level. This is per month. The Flourish tier is $100. That's your general admission or general price sale. If you think about masterminds that actually run all around the world at this caliber, a lot of them, Christina and I that have been a part of, usually cost about $1,000 a month. This is not something that we want to be doing. We want to make sure, like Christina said, that wellness is a birthright and not a luxury. So to make this accessible for everyone, we do have general admission, financial aid. The Radiance tier is if someone wants to have one-on-one coaching alongside the mastermind program. So Christina and I are able to offer that. And then if you want to pay it forward, then you can pay $200 so that you can support another sister. And then, of course, we do offer financial aid, and we do offer scholarships for free. So if that's the bracket that you're in, we kindly ask that you just be cognizant that there are limited slots available. So if you end up taking a slot, it's going to take away from someone else. So we do ask that you really reflect on your financial capacity to be able to contribute what you can contribute, so that we can also contribute to a lot of the other ladies that are also in financial need. A lot of the investment that actually comes through this is also going to be funneled into the free initiatives that Christina and I are currently funding in Fuel to Flourish. So a lot of the free initiatives that we've done for the community actually come out of our own pocket. So this is one of the ways that you can support all of the community initiatives that get to be run for free is by supporting another sister. So yeah, I guess that I'm gonna get Christina to talk a little bit more about any parts that I might have missed, including the investment. But yeah, I just want to, you know, sometimes I have a hard time at selling because, there's a part of me that just wants to do it for free, but I do also understand the value of the investment that we make in ourselves. And if we think about the investments that we put into our food, the investments that we put into a gym, the investments we put into our homes, there's nothing more important than investing in ourselves, in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, in the way that we show up in our relationships, in our life, in our love, and wholeness. When we live from that place, when we get to really touch into that more and more because of this deep work that is supported like a community like this, then it really ripples out into every aspect of our life. So this is us also investing in every aspect of our life. So we hope that you'll join us. We'll have more and more details trickle through in the group chat, because we'll also make sure that we choose the dates and meeting times that is working best for everybody. But if you have any questions, please direct them to the group chat or to us and Christina.